Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about kitchens. Because for me, for the longest time, the kitchens were just about function. Keep it clean, keep it practical, and most importantly, keep it out of sight. But when I first moved into my open plan space, things changed. Suddenly, the kitchen wasn't hidden behind a wall, it was right there. In every photo, conversation, and each visit. And that's when I noticed something interesting. Every mismatched jar, every cluttered shelf, every awkward corner, it all felt like it was saying something about me. And let's be honest, we all notice these things when we visit someone else's house. So in this video, we're going to talk about choices that may seem small, like open shelving versus closed cabinets, or whether everything really needs to match. These little decisions completely change the way how I look at my house. So I hope they help you solve a few of your design challenges too. When we picture a peaceful home, we picture the kitchen to be quiet and clean and everything to be tucked away behind the cabinet doors. And honestly, that is a system which works because with our day-to-day lives, it feels calming to have everything hidden. It gives us that little mental exhale. To be honest, it's not a surprise that everyone loves closed cabinets. I mean, they hide all the mess and makes the space look tidy. But here's something what I have realized over time, that visual peace does not always comes from hiding things. Sometimes feeling good in your space just comes from having the things you actually use around you and making them look nice. That's what open shelves do. They turn your everyday stuff into part of decor. Now don't get me wrong, closed cabinets are super functional. They hide your clutter and give you a polished look. But when everything is hidden, a kitchen can start to feel a little sterile. Open shelves bring a softer kind of order. It's not about chaos, it's about character. You know, I remember noticing the little stuffs like crooked labels, repurposing that olive oil tin, and all those empty jam jars. We don't really see those kind of things these days. And you guys, this idea is not new. You know, in traditional Middle Eastern homes, open storage was how things worked. You know the concept, like pans hanging besides the stove and plates kept in built-in shelves. Everything was within reach because, you know, kitchens were not made for show. I used to think visual peace just meant hiding everything away, but now I see it differently. It's more about creating a space that actually fits how you live, not artificially perfect, but real. And you guys, if you're rethinking to design your shelves or kitchen in general right now, I have included a few ideas like this in my free design lookbook. The link is in the description down below. Open layouts are beautiful. They make the whole space feel bigger, brighter, and way more connected. And I really love the concept that kitchen just flows into everything else. But the flip side is now your kitchen is always in the view, which means you start to feel like it has to look perfect all the time. At first, I really tried to do it that way. Clear the counters, tucked everything away, just to make it feel like it's ready. But the more I did it, the more I felt like I have to perform all the time, even just to make a cup of tea. That's when I started thinking, what if the kitchen didn't have to impress anyone, and just to perform for me, the one who is using it? Now I keep my day-to-day appliances and essentials out, and I don't worry if it looks a little mismatched. It feels real, and that feels better. And you know, in a lot of Middle Eastern homes, that was the norm. The kitchen was alive. It was not hidden away. Something's always on the stove, and maybe a neighbor stopping by. It wasn't styled, it was lived in. And now I don't worry about spotless. I just wanted to feel generous. You guys, there is something really satisfying about decanting the pantry items into matching jars. Everything looks clean, neat, and under control. And especially these days, it kind of feels like a gold standard. Glass containers, printed labels, maybe even a little bit of color coding, and it definitely looks good, it feels good, and everything looks like it's in place. You know, that kind of a visual order comes at a cost of something more important: personality. Because when you have the pressure to match everything perfectly, you can lose yourself in the process. It all starts to feel a little too curated. Some of the most interesting kitchens I've ever seen had spices in old jam jars, flour in ceramic bowl that belonged to someone's grandmother maybe, and tea bags in a metal tin that used to hold biscuits. You know, that kind of a style is not styled for a camera. That is the style which is meant for living. And if you look at traditional Arab kitchens, you will see this kind of a rhythm. It's not about everything looking the same. It's about finding a system that makes sense to you. You know, for the longest time, I thought I had to match everything to make it feel organized. But now I know I just needed the things to feel like me. And you will see, if you follow functionality, it will bring texture and memory, which we all crave. But at the same time, if you feel like matching jars will bring you peace, use them. But don't feel like you have to erase every bit of mismatch to have a beautiful kitchen. Okay, now let's talk about layouts. Because if you have ever Googled how to design a kitchen, you have probably seen the rule about the kitchen triangle, which is sink, fridge, and stove, all within a few steps, and it is supposed to make everything more efficient. But here's the thing, a lot of real kitchens don't look like that. Maybe your fridge is in the weird corner, and maybe your stove and prep space are across the room from each other. Or maybe like me, you're working with the narrow galley. Kitchens that doesn't follow any rules. And that is okay, because the truth is, kitchens does not always have to follow textbook layouts to work. It just needs to work for the way you move. In traditional Middle Eastern homes, kitchens were rarely symmetrical or even rule-bound. You might chop vegetables by the window, cook outside in a clay oven, or set up a tea corner far from the stove. And you guys, I believe in these sort of homes, function comes from rhythm, not from geometry. So if your layout feels awkward, don't panic or start planning for a full remodel. Just start with how you use the space. Maybe add a rolling cart where you need extra prep, use hanging storage if your drawers are too small, and I would say create zones that match your flow. You know, I have worked in kitchens that made no sense on paper, but in practice, they were easy and even joyful. They were not perfect, but they made sense for the person actually cooking in them. So if your space is not textbook perfect, that to me is not a failure. It's something you can work on and create a happy place for you. In a lot of modern homes, the kitchen feels like backstage. You prep the food behind the scene, brings the food out with a smile, and hope no one sees a mess. It's a sort of quiet rule we have all observed. The kitchen is for function and the living room is for guests. We have kind of sort of divided both of them. What if the corner where you make tea was actually meant to be seen? We don't need a full redesign to create that feeling. It could be as simple as a tray with your favorite cups, a folded tea towel, maybe a jar of honey or sugar. In many Middle Eastern homes, the line between the kitchen and the living room does not really exist. Guests were welcomed into the rhythm of the kitchen. There was always a kettle on, something warm to scoop and share, because it was not designed to be polished, it was present. You know, when I first started hosting, I would keep everyone in the dining area. I would run back and forth trying to keep everything look ready and polished. But once I set up a small corner in the kitchen where people could grab a drink or just talk while I cooked, you know, I felt the relief in the very moment. The conversation softened, people stayed longer, it felt generous, not performative. You don't need more space, you just need a bit of space and the intention to share it. At the end of the day, the kitchen is not about storage or layouts, or not even what's out on the shelves. It's about rhythm and hospitality. It's about how you move through your day and how you make others feel in the process. The internet will give you hundreds of rules of how your kitchen should look like, but the real kitchens, they're always layered, lived in, and a little bit messy. And I feel that's what makes them beautiful. And if you're thinking about your layouts, your storage spaces, how to store the spices, and in general how the kitchen should look like, I've put together a free lookbook to help. It's filled with tips and examples inspired by traditional Middle Eastern kitchens, and I'll see you in the next one.